Hello everyone. First of all, welcome to this overview of Microsoft Azure. My name is Pradeep Raney, and I would be going through this webinar for next half an hour, and then we'll take the questions. Initially, I would request all of you to please mute yourself so there is no disturbance. Right, so as I said, my name is Pradeep Raney, and I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. I'm a dual MCAC, that is on private cloud as well as messaging. A little bit over 16 years of experience in various areas of IT infra, which includes pre-sales, consulting, training, designing. And I keep taking assignments on Azure and Office 365, which are moving like hot cake nowadays. So this webinar has been we would be doing it across Microsoft Azure, where we would be talking about cloud technology overview, what Azure offers you, a slight glimpse of the Azure portal and how to create your first VM, which would be very easy if you'll go ahead and see. Though Azure in itself today is a very vast platform where you can do many things. I would request you to, wherever you have any questions, please note it down. So at the end of the session, we can take question answers. And if you have any questions, I'm sure most of you must be aware what exactly Azure is. It's a cloud-based platform where you get so many services, and the important ones are infrastructure as a service, software as a service, and platform as a service. Infrastructure as a service, to keep it simple, you can take your domain controller, you can take your Exchange server, you can take your SQL servers and put it on infrastructure. Now, one thing which you have to remember is Microsoft does give you SQL as a separate platform as a service. Office 365 is available as software as a service. So though you would like to keep Exchange and Skype for Business or SQL on infrastructure as a service thing, but Microsoft officially doesn't support that because it is giving you some different ways to put your Exchange and Skype for Business in a different way. I'll give you a brief idea as we go ahead. But the best part, if you have to start with Azure, is go ahead, create a free trial account, test a virtual machine, see what all things are available. Though Azure, as I said, it's a vast platform as of today, but the best place is to start with your own virtual machine. Another thing is it's an on-demand self-service. So today you want to, let's say you want to do some testing of your software and you don't have your machine with the appropriate capacity. You can go ahead and create a virtual machine. Go ahead and create a virtual machine with 32 GB RAM, whatever processor you need. Test your application. As and when you are using it, you would be charged only for that particular part. So another trick is that many a times when I do my testings, I go ahead, create virtual machine. Though my testing keeps on keeps on going for a couple of days. Once I'm done with my practice on a particular day, I shut down the machines. It's not charged at that level. So these are few of the tricks which you learn as and when you start using Azure. Broad network access wherever you are, any part of the world, you can access your Azure virtual machines from anywhere. Today I'm sitting at X place, tomorrow I'm sitting at Y place. I can go ahead and do the testing as in the way I was doing it at my home base. Resource pooling. Now, this is something which I give an example of that. If a particular thing is to be bought by an individual, if you go ahead and buy a if you go ahead and take a house on rent, you might be paying something something as in, let's say, X amount. But the same house, when it's divided by 4 people, that means 4 people would be staying, renting that house. You are dividing that X amount by 4. So you get at a cheaper price, whereas Microsoft over here is getting it at a extra price. So that's where the resource pooling part comes. When you go ahead and create your virtual machine, let's say you are assigning 32 GB of RAM to your virtual machine. Microsoft is not hard allocating you that 32 GB. Till the time you don't need it, it is still being accessed by maybe 10 other virtual machines. Rapid elasticity. That is something that today you started using a virtual machine with 32 GB and tomorrow you need 64 GB in that. Yes, it can be done at once. You don't have to wait to get the memory. I mean, you can just go ahead and increase the memory in your virtual machine. That's it. You would be charged extra for that, and that's how it works out. Azure, as I said, is a public platform, whereas you might have a private cloud also. Initially, when Azure was still in its initial days, Microsoft came out with something which was known as Microsoft Private Cloud. If you guys must have seen that I am certified on Microsoft Private Cloud. So private cloud is something similar what you go ahead and do in public. The same kind of a cloud is made within your organization, and your marketing team, your development team can share the resources the same way you do it on the public cloud. Though most of the companies are moving towards public cloud. And the third thing which you see over here is hybrid cloud. That is, you connect your on-premise infrastructure and you are using something on Azure. Both are connected with each other, which is the main purpose nowadays, or which is the main reason most of the companies are using Azure. So you have domain controller on your premises, you can have Exchange server on your premises, but you want SQL server on Azure. But that SQL server has to be connected with your on-premise infrastructure, and that's where you connect it with networking from site to site or whatever way you want, which are available through Azure. And one of your machines is on cloud, rest of the machines can be on premises. That's what it talks about public, private, and hybrid. You can have a separate public cloud, cloud where you have your machines. You can have a private cloud where all your machines are within your infrastructure, within your on-premise, and you can have a combination of both. As I said, people who have joined later, if there are any questions, please note it down. End of the session, we would take question answers. So like I was telling you, software as a service. The best example of software as a service is your Office 365. If you start thinking today, if you have to deploy Exchange server, if you have to deploy Skype for Business, if you have to deploy SharePoint, it might take quite a few resources and time of yours, where you can go ahead and implement all these. Right now I'm just taking three products of Microsoft, and it might take quite a long time for it to implement in your on-premise thing. Whereas if you buy Office 365, within 5 minutes you buy a subscription and you are ready to use all the products of Office 365. That comes under software as a service. Infrastructure as a service, I already told you. You want to take one of your servers onto cloud. Example was SQL server or any other server. You put it on virtual cloud and start using it. Platform as a service is hosting your custom solutions where Microsoft gives you platform and you take your application and test it on Azure. As Microsoft says, they call it global distribution. Like we were talking about, you can access this Azure from anywhere. Now in the background, if you see, when you go ahead and buy first subscription of Azure, or you sign up for a subscription, it asks you for which region you want to select your data center. So there are many data centers available. Initially when it started, it used to be US, Europe, Southeast Asia. So let's say I have selected Southeast Asia. In that case, whatever virtual machines I'm putting in Southeast Asia database, then also there is a backup which is being taken at 2 different places. By default, it takes a backup at different places. And again, when it comes to storage, Microsoft offers you 3 different types of storages. One can be in a local data center, a backup kind of a thing. One can be in the same zone, and one can be geographic. So that's what Microsoft does from the safety point of view, that it takes the backup of your data and keeps it somewhere where whatever you choose. Best part is, in the backend, all these things are taken care by Microsoft. So you don't have to deploy a team of people that something is going down. Microsoft takes care of all these things. Below, if you see modular architecture, what it talks about is there are clusters of thousands of servers and pluggable units. So there are thousands of servers in each data center which are pluggable. So a hard disk is required, a memory is required, it is hot pluggable. Full power redundancy and contingency is available. High speed redundant data center network is available. In data center and internet connectivity is available. And initially when I said triple redundant data storage and geo replications, is the extra data which is saved in the backend. High power and water efficiency is there. Servers run on Windows Server. Another best part which you'll find on Azure is that whatever latest servers are coming up, Microsoft is offering you all those servers. So Windows 16, if you just need a nano server, which is a new part of Windows 16 server, that is also available. Post this session, I would encourage you to connect with Pathik, so that if any one of you needs a proper training on this, you can always go ahead. If anyone is interested in the certification course, you can always connect with Global IT Solutions. And once you are there on Azure portal, you will see there are so many different things available. You need a Visual Studio machine where you don't need to install Visual Studio, you don't need to install virtual machine. You just select the Visual Studio VM which is available. Within 5-10 minutes, your machine would be ready, up and running. And the best part is, all these virtual machines which you put on Azure, you can do a RDP like you do a normal RDP within your data center. I'll go ahead and I'll show you that if possible. We'll try to do that. Azure is a multi-tenant service. So one platform in the backend for Microsoft, but from the tenant point of view, there are hundreds of small companies. Now think from a point of view, initially when this was not available, there were small companies, let's say a small company of 25 users. That company never used to go and buy products of Microsoft. They never used to install Exchange or Domain Controller or Skype for Business. And these 25, 50 or 100 user companies were never clients of Microsoft. With Azure coming in and Office 365 coming in, Microsoft is trying to pull all these people towards themselves, and they are benefiting. If your company has to purchase, or you have to purchase, either you can directly go on the site and buy a subscription where you go in with pay as you go, whatever amount you are. So you have to deposit an amount, you select a machine, as and when that money would be over, you will have to again deposit that extra amount, and you'll keep on using the machine. You can connect with your a Microsoft reseller, or if you have an enterprise agreement with Microsoft, you can use the enterprise agreement features. You can manage Azure through Azure portal. Microsoft gives you an option of using PowerShell, where you can so one of the best features which I have made full use of is PowerShell, where I create these virtual machines through PowerShell instead of going on the Azure portal and creating it manually. I just run the PowerShell commands from my normal machine, and the machine virtual machine is created on Azure. It does give you a CLI option also, command line interface of Azure itself, but it totally depends on you. What are you comfortable on? Automation and Visual Studio are, as I was telling you, Visual Studio is also available, and Azure Automation. Automation is nothing but what it does is, when you go on the portal, you select a virtual machine. Let's say you want a virtual machine of Windows 10. You select Windows 10, you go ahead and give the name, you go ahead and select what is the hardware requirement on that, and you go ahead and select your networking, and it creates the whole machine according to whatever inputs you have given. That is what is automation. What you're seeing right now on the screen is a older version or a older portal of Azure. I'll quickly after this go onto the portal and show you the difference between two portals. This is the older one. When initially Azure started, this was the portal available, and nowadays you see something which is like this, where you can see quite a few things on your left hand side, and it's pretty vast. Right, so let me quickly go to the portal and show you how exactly the portal would look like. Right now, so this is my portal, one of the portals which I have, which is on my name, and I have created one more portal, which is a trial account which I just created. So you can see on this Azure portal that there are quite a few machines which are created. None of the machines is on right now. You can see these are the machines which are created. None of them is on right now, but if you see, this is the cloud account. Very first time when you create a subscription, there's a cloud account which is created for you. You create a storage, that's what I have done over here, and a networking. Rest all our machines. Now, if I want to just power on this particular machine, I select this machine, and on the right hand side you can see that these are the options available. On top, if I click on start, it will ask me to start, and it will go ahead and start the machine. Right now, don't worry about this, because this is something which is already an expired thing. I just wanted to show you what all machines I have created. If I go to my portal and click on a new machine, you see over here, I can see Azure Marketplace. If I click on this, see all, there are a lot of things which are available under everything. So that's why I have to go ahead and create something separately, or select separately. If I just want a compute thing, I would go ahead and click on compute. Otherwise, just to give you a, you see over here, you have Windows 7, Windows 10, Windows Server, Virtual Network, Data Center, Ubuntu Server. Going down, it gives me Citrix, XenApp, Barracuda, whatever I mean, there are so many things which are available, and if it's available on Azure portal, I can go ahead and create this. And these are not all. If you can see, every option has got something which says more. So it's not limited to what you're seeing right now. But let me go ahead and quickly show you. This is what I'm selecting. So I need a compute thing. Whenever I'm creating a machine or a server, I need something which is known as compute. I would go ahead and select whichever machine I want over here. Let's say I go ahead and select Windows 2016 Data Center. This is what I was telling you. This is, so let's say I'm giving it a name of test1 machine. I'll give some username. Unfortunately, it won't take your admin or administrator username, so you have to give some other username. When it comes to password, it has to be at least 12 characters. So once I've created the password, there's something which is known as resource group. Okay. Microsoft, when initially they started Azure, they had something which was known as affinity. So let me put it this way: when you're creating, let's say, 3 virtual machines, if you're creating 3 virtual machines on Azure, how will you decide that these all 3 machines have to be on the same server in Azure Data Center or nearby? You don't have control on that. That's where Microsoft used to call it affinity, and now they have changed it to resource group. So you have a resource group. Once you create the resource group, all your machines are closely available. So where you saw that it was giving me an error because of the name, it's not taking the name. So let's see if it's taking it now. Okay. So remember, another thing is when I see this East US location, this is the initial location which I had selected when I was buying the subscription. If I click down, I have other options available, but please don't do that, because one virtual machine in East US storage, another machine in Central India, another machine in somewhere West Central US, it won't work properly. I've clicked OK, it's validating. Second option, well, like I was talking about, you can see I have so whatever is recommended is shown over here. I'll obviously go ahead and select the lowest one right now, which is 1 virtual CPU and 3.5 GB. But if I click on view all, it will give me all other options also. I've just clicked on view all, and now you can see I can select any kind of a machine. I can select 28 GB machine with 8 virtual processors. Obviously, I'll have to put in mind that it would cost me around 28,500 for its estimated price. So you have to keep in mind that that much money is available. So right now I'm just going ahead and selecting this. Once I select the size, it again gives me whether I want high availability for this machine. Let's say if I want high availability, then I would go ahead and create a new new option of high availability. Though it's not necessary to do that. Rest everything is, since I had already created a virtual test network, it's giving me that option. I would go ahead. There are no storage accounts for ECUS. I'll go ahead and create it. So all these options, wherever, if it's not available, it will go ahead and give you an option of creating new things. If you remember, I was telling you that replication, there are options available: LRS, geo redundant, and read access. So this is the local redundant storage. That means in the same data center, you will have a backup. This would be somewhere across the geography. I'm just giving a proper name. You might face this problem of the names. So it's taking its own time to create a virtual machine, and once it's created. So right now you can see I don't have that much money in my account. So that's why it's asking me, as an MCT, I get this free trial account from Azure. But once I'm done with this, I just want to show you another thing quickly is, once I have selected this particular virtual machine, I get something on the top which says connect. If I click on this connect, it downloads a particular software. It downloads a particular software which is a RDP software. Once I have downloaded that RDP software, I can do a remote desktop session. Right, guys. So this was a small session which I wanted to take on Azure quickly. The whole idea is to create an awareness of Azure, even from Microsoft and global IT solutions. And right, you guys can ask me questions.